Hi everybody, my name is Pulkit Chabla, and in this video we'll be discussing the ready bitwise problem of the April long challenge. I'll first be reading out the question, I'll be discussing the basic approach, and I'll also be explaining the code. So let's start with it. Let's read the question. So the question says Yukti found a strange paper with a Boolean expression written on it. Unfortunately, all the operands were missing from this expression. Being an innovative person, Yukti immediately creates a riddle for her students based on this incomplete expression. Okay, the students are given the string L describing a valid Boolean expression where each operand value is replaced by the character hash. A valid expression is defined as one of the following: a single term hash, a string in the format expression 1 operator expression 2 enclosed in parentheses, okay, where expression 1 and expression 2 are valid expressions. Operator is one of the characters, and or zor, as you can see, denoting bitwise and or XOR respectively. Each of the characters hash in this string should be replaced by one of the characters 0, 1, small a or capital A, uniformly, randomly, and independently. Okay. So basically, if we see that what is the probability of each character equals to 0 or 1 or a or capital A, it will be 1 by 4, right? And if we see the total number of valid expressions that will be formed will be 4 raised to power number of hashes, right? Then the resulting expression is evaluated as follows. Okay, a boolean value a is chosen, okay, 0 or 1. Each occurrence of character a is interpreted as this value, and each occurrence of capital A is interpreted as its negation, okay, 1 minus small a. The character 0 and 1 are represented as values 0 and 1, the boolean values 0 and 1 respectively. Since there are two possible values of a, we obtain two constant boolean expressions this way. Let's denote them by g0 when small a equals to 0 and g1 when small a equals to 1. Okay, let's evaluate g1 and g0 and g1. Okay, it says if g0 equals to g1 equals to 0, then the value of the expression is 0. In other words, what it basically means is that irrespective of value of a, if the expression is 0 in both the cases, like in both of the cases, if it's 0, then our expression's value is going to be 0. And if g0 equals to g1 equals to 1, it means that our value of the expression is 1 irrespective of the value of a, then the value of the expression is 1. And if it's 0 for 0 and 1 for 1, then the value of the expression is a. And if it's 0 for 1 and 1 for 0, then the value is basically negation of small a, which is capital A, right? So it's just a fancy way of explaining it. In simple terms, it's just take 0, 1, small a and capital A as different entities, and just see what is the final value of the expression. It will be the value of expression. Okay. Can you find the probabilities with which the expression obtained after substituting for each value hash evaluates to these values? Okay, it can be proved that each of these values, the probability for each of these values, the probability can be expressed as p by q, where p and q are integers, where p is greater than or equal to 0 and q is greater than 0, and q is co-prime with this number. Okay, you should compute p into q inverse modulo this number for each of these values. Okay, the first line contains t, which is the number of test cases. The first and the only line of each test case contains the string s. Okay, now we have to just print four integers, that is probability of the expression's value to be 0, 1, small a or capital A respectively, and not exactly probability. If the probability is p by q, we have to print this p into q inverse modulo this given number. Okay, there are two subtasks. One is for L, the length of L less than or equals to 300, and the original constraints are that the number of test cases will be less than or equal to 600, and the length can be up to 100,000, and uh, these are the characters that it can contain, and the sum of the lengths overall test cases cannot exceed 1 million. One more constraint that is already given in the question itself is that the expression will be a valid Boolean expression, a string L describing a valid Boolean expression. So we don't have to care about that in our code. It is for sure that it is going to be valid only, right? So this point onwards, I'll be discussing the solution. I'll be explaining the approach, and I'll be directly discussing the larger subtask only. So if you want to think for it yourself, it will be a good time to pause the video, and you can come back and verify your solution afterwards. Let's try to see here that how can we calculate a given expression. I know that the expression that we are given in the question is a Boolean one. Let's just simply to know the method, we can simply try it for this expression as well. If we see, the answer for this expression is going to be 4 into the value of this, which is going to be 2 by 2, which is 1. So 4 into 1 is going to be 4, right? So if we see manually, we have multiplication operator over to these over these two expressions. So we'll first need to calculate the value of this, and we need to know the value of this to basically get the final answer. Now to get the value of this, we'll simply do 1 plus 3, but to get the value of this, we first need to know the value of 7 minus 5, and the answer will basically be operated with this value of 2, and then we'll get the two operands that we require to get the final answer, that is 4. So let's basically try to make an algorithm that does it for us, right? What we can basically do is, in the Boolean expression or in the normal expression that is given in the question, we can maintain two stacks. One will be a character stack, which will basically tell us the operands, sorry, the operators, operator stack, and one will be let's say our stack of integers in this case, which will basically contain the operands, right? So whenever we will start traversing the string from left to right, whenever we encounter a opening bracket, we'll do nothing, we'll just enter it, and we encounter an opening bracket, just continue, then again on opening bracket, continue. Now we get an operand, we'll push it to the operand stack, done. Now then we get an operator, push it to the operator stack, then operand to operand, then we get an then we get a closing bracket. Now when we get a closing bracket, we'll just basically apply the operator which is on the top of the operator stack with upon the operators which are on the top of the operand stack. So we'll just pop the the last operator that we found, sorry, the last operand that we found, which is 3, and we'll add to 3 because 3 is going to be the right one because it was pushed later. Add to I'm sorry, we'll simply add to 3 the second last operand, which is 1, and we'll also pop the top operator and the operand, and we know that 3 plus 1 is 4. We'll push back, we'll push the result into the operands stack, done. Now after the this closing bracket, we encounter multiplication, we'll simply push it to the operator stack, then again closing, sorry, opening, do nothing, opening, do nothing, 7, push it, minus, push it, 5, push it, then closing bracket, then do the same, pop 5 and minus and 7, and I'll perform 7 minus 5, which is 2, and I'll push 2 to the operands stack, right? Yeah, push 2 to the to the operand stack, right? Now the next operator, the next character that I have is divide. Just push it, then 2, push it, then again a closing bracket. I'll have to perform 2 by 2. 2 by 2 is going to be 1, push it, then again one more closing bracket, then I'll do 1 into 4, which is going to be 4. Just push it. I don't know why did it come back. Yeah, now in the after having traversed the string, assuming that it's a valid one according to what's given in the question, my operator stack will be empty and my operand stack will contain just one value, which will be my final answer, right? So this way we'll be evaluating the expressions. Now we'll see how to approach the problem. This is a way to evaluate, to get a value of a given expression, but that's not what we want. We want to get the required answer, right? So let's basically try to analyze this example that I have just drawn. In this, if we see, the last operation that will be carried out will be this particular operator, and each operator represents one of the characters, and or XOR. Okay, yeah. So the last one that will be carried out will be this one between this value and this value. Let's not denote this by L and this one by R, right? So the last operation will be L operation of PR according to the algorithm that we just saw, right? So let's try to calculate the possible outputs. The possible outputs can be 0 or 1 or A or capital A, right? Now let's see what are the cases in which the output is going to be 0, right? We'll similarly see for the cases, we'll similarly see the cases for 1A and capital A if required, but let's just try to do it for 0 for now, right? We want that our output should be 0. Now we need to get the cases for all three operators, right? We don't know what the value of operator is, if it's, and we'll need to proceed with the cases in which the value of operator was and similarly for XOR and OR, right? Let's say the operator is equals to AND, right? Okay, or let's say for simplicity it's OR. It will be a simpler one. If the operator is OR and we want L or R to be 0, it is simple that we if the OR value is 0, both of them should be 0, right? If any one of them is 1 or anything else, then basically the OR value is not going to be 0, and it's going to be equal to the other value, right? So L equals to 0 and R equals to 0 is one case, okay? Or in simple 0 0 is one case, right? And let's say the operator was equal to XOR, right? Now we want our answer to be 0. In this case, we know that if XOR is 0, then L value and R value should be same, should be equal, and the cases for them to be equal are 0 0 and 1 1 and small a and capital A, right? And we can similarly see the cases for operator equals to and we can similarly make the cases for the rest of the values also, that is 1 and small a and capital A. But if we observe, we don't really need to calculate the values for calculate the cases for small a and capital A. I'll be explaining it to you very soon, that what's the reason behind it. Now let's say I want to want the number of I want to calculate the number of cases in which the value of my operator, my final answer is 0. Let's say not the number of cases. I want to calculate the probability of 0, that is the answer for 0, right? Now and assume that our the final operator was OR. In that case, my probability is going to be P L equals to 0 into P R equals to 0, right? And in this case, if we see, my probability is going to be P of, let me write it down here, in this operator equals to XOR case. Can I say that my probability, that my final probability, that the answer for my final probability will be equal to P of L equals to 0 into P of R equals to 0. In this case, both of my uh, you know value should be 0. Let me denote it by p1 and p2 for, for the sake that I'll have to write a little bit less, plus p1 of 1 into p2 of 1, right, in the case of 1 1, plus p1 of a into p2 of a plus p1 of capital A into p2 of capital A, right? This will be the probability that the value of the current expression that I'm looking for, in this case the final one, is going to be 0, that its value is going to be 0. And similarly we can consider the cases for when the operator is and we can also handle the cases when the value is 1, right? Now the reason behind me saying that we don't really need to calculate the cases for small a and capital A is that we know that the final value is either going to be 0 or 1 or small a or capital A, right? So we can say, we can say that the probabilities of a value of expression being 0 1 small a and capital A, will be equal to 1, their sum will be equal to 1, right? And if we calculate the values of 0 and 1, we'll know the probabilities, the sum of probabilities of a and small a, right? We can simply subtract p of 0 and p of 1 from 1 to get the value of p of a and p of capital A, right? And by symmetry, because small a and capital A are basically just names of two variables which happen to be negations of each other, we can just assign all those hashes which we assigned a to small capital A and a capital A to small a, to basically change the value from small a to capital A, right? So we can say that the values of p of small a and p of capital A are going to be equal for each case, because they are just names of the variables. We can choose any name, we can just replace the names to basically get the other value, and to basically get capital A instead of small a, we can just simply replace all capital A's by small a's and all small a's by capital A's, right? So, having said that, we'll just be calculating the values of p of 0 and p of 1, and we can subtract those from 1, and we can divide them by 2 to get the value of p of small a and p of capital A, right? So before proceeding to the code, let me also just explain you a little bit about modulo arithmetic. As we were told, if the final probability that we are calculating is of the form p by q, we do not really need to print this. We'll have to print p into q inverse modulo mod. The mod value was given there, which was something 99. It was, yeah, 998244535 okay. So let's say our probability is 1 by 4. I told you that if the expression is just hash, the probability is going to be 1 by 4 for each value. Then we basically need mod inverse of 4. And since I checked it, I checked it on the web, you can also check that the given modulo value is a prime number, and in case of prime numbers, the modulo inverse is equal to for the modulo inverse of 4 or any other number x, let's say, it will be equal to in case of 4 it will be equal to 4 raised to power mod minus 2% mod, right? So I'll be using this in the code, so I thought I should let you know about this. If this is something you don't know, if you are not familiar with modular arithmetic, I think you should go and check out some other video or read it out on the net before I basically start discussing the code. It will be better, it will be easy for you guys to get the code if you already know about all this. So I'll be discussing the code now. I have written it down already. Yeah, so I have my 1 by 4 value to be equal to 4 raised to power mod minus 2. This power mod function does fast exponentiation, calculates the power in log n time, and gives me a raised to power n percent mod. A raised to power n percent mod. I've already defined the mod value as the given value, right? So I have this 1 by 4 because I'll need its value, and the initial value, if I just have a hash in the current expression, the the probability for each value 0, 1, a, small a, and capital A is going to be 1 by 4. If you see the indices that are that the indices are going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, right? For my vector which is going to represent the probabilities, I am using this index 2 to represent the probability of small a, and index 3 to represent the probability of capital A. I have actually defined small a as 2 and capital A by 3, so that instead of writing 2 and 3 I can simply write small a and capital A, and so that it's easy to understand basically, right? So I have this equals vector. This is for the case when I have just one hash in the current expression, okay? Then I'm taking the number of test cases as my input, and then I'm taking the expression as my input. Then, as we just discussed, I'll be iterating over the expression. If my current character is hash, it means it's an operand. I'll push to the value. This value is a stack. I have made two stacks here. One is a stack of vector int because I'm sorry, I forgot to explain it. The vector int is basically containing 4 values, and the 4 values are going to be as I just told you a minute ago. V of 0 is going to be equals to p of probability that the value of the current expression is basically 0, and v of 1 is going to be the probability of 1, 2 is going to be the probability of a, and 3 is going to be the probability of capital A, right? That's what my val will store, because in the in the integer expression that I used to explain you guys the algorithm to calculate its value, we had just integers, right? Because in that case the value of expression, a value of the current expression was fixed, but in this case the value can be either 0 or 1 or small a or capital A, and we'll just be storing the probabilities of the value of the expression being equal to those 4 values, because we'll need that, right? And this the stack is the operator stack. It is of the type character, right? So I'm iterating, and if the current character is hash, I'll just push the equals vector to the val, because the value, the probabilities for just the hash string, just that particular hash is 1 by 4, 1 by 4, 1 by 4, and 1 by 4, right? If it's a opening bracket, if it's an opening bracket, I'll just continue. We just discussed that we don't have to do anything in that case. If it's a closing bracket, I have to operate once. We'll see in a while what this operate once function is. Else I'll simply push the the current character, the operator to the operator stack. And my answer in the final, after having done this, after having run this loop, my answer is going to be in the top of the val vector. I'll just pop it so that it is ready for the next test case, because it will just be having one character, one value in it. I'll just pop it, and by this line I'll be sure that my val and operator is empty, so that there is no issue when I move to the next test case, right? Then I'll print the answer of 0, 1, a and capital A. This is basically answer of 2 and answer of 3, right? And the \n. Now let's just see what this operate once function does, right? When I'm at this operate once function, I'll get out the right operator, the right operand. It will be val.top. I'll pop it. Then I'll get the left operand, which is val.top. Then again pop it. Then I'll get the operator and pop it, right? Then I have a result vector of size 4. I'll calculate the result using this switch case thing. After having by the line 93, I would have calculated the result. Then I'll just simply push the result to the to the val stack, right? Now let's just see how we are calculating the result, right? Now I have made the cases in if the operator is AND or 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 XOR. Let's see. In the case of AND, I'll have to calculate the cases. I'll have to multiply and then add the probabilities of the cases when my resultant is 0. Let's just see for the result case when resultant is 1. When the result is 1, I know that if the operator is AND, I want both of my left and right operands to be 1. So I'll just multiply L of 1 by and R of 1. L of 1 will be the probability that the left operand equals 1, and the R of 1 similarly that right operand equals to 1. And this mul function simply just takes the percent mod of both the values and just returns us the multiplication under modulo, right? Yeah, so in this case we want both of them to be 1, and when we want the AND to be 0, for AND equals to 0, I can basically have 0 0 0 1 0 2 sorry 0 0 capital A, right? And I can also have 1 0 small a 0 capital A 0, right? The because one of the operands is 0, I can be sure that the AND value is 0. Also, small a capital A and capital A small a are also going to operate to 0 if they have an AND in between them. That's because we know that capital A and small a are negation of each other. If one of them is 1, then the other one is obviously going to be 0, so the AND is going to be 0. So I have just multiplied it, I have just multiplied P of 0 and P of 0, added it to P of 0 into P of 1, then added P of 0, sorry, L of 0 into R of 0, then is L of 0 into R of A, then L of 1 into R of 0, and so on. So I multiplied L of 0 with R of 1 plus R of A plus R of capital A, because if the left is 0, then right can be all these. Then I fixed my right as 0, and I added the possibilities of left and multiplied it, and then basically both 0 and then small a capital A, then capital A small a, right? In the case of OR, it's very similar. You just have to replace 0 and 1. I'll go through it once if that makes you understand it in a better way. If we are taking the OR, if and for OR to be 0, both of the values should be 0. If any one of them is not 0, then the OR value is going to be the other value, right? So I'll just multiply L of 0 and R of 0, and for the result to be 1, I just want at least one value to be 1, right? So similarly, in the case of 0 and we'll just consider all of the cases in this way. in this case also, right? And for the value for the case when the operator value is OR, then for 0 I want both of the operands to be equal to each other, right? So 0 0 1 1, small a and capital A, right? For the XOR value to be 1, I want both of them to be different. So 0 1 1 0, small a capital A and capital A small a, right? So when I'm out of this, I have calculated the res of 0 and res of 1, but they are not under modulo because I have added several values but not under modulo. So I just took percent equals to mod, and the probability that is already gone in result 0 and 1 is this, both of their the sum of them both percent mod. Then the remaining probability that I have to distribute among small a and capital A will be 1 minus the probability that is gone. Then then the result of small a and result of capital A will be equals to the remaining probability by 2. So I'll just multiply the remaining probability by mod inverse of 2. I have stored it in a global variable called mod n of 2, right? So I'll just push the result value as we just discussed. I hope the intuition behind the solution was clear. I hope the solution code is clear. I'll link down this submission in the video description. So this was it for this video, guys. Thank you very much. See you guys in the next video.